Hello, ladies. How are you today? I am Karen Ray. I'm the founder of Fave Lifestyles, and we have launched a mission called hashtag celebrating 1 million women igniting courageous voices. And this is all about women coming together, sharing their brave stories, because we know that when women share their brave stories, it's a way to connect us. Through those emotional experiences that we all have, whether the players are different, the circumstances might be slightly different, but some of those things that we go through to overcome, to tap into that resilience, that grit, that transformation, those are the things that bring us all together. And I am just so thrilled today to have Sharon Marine here with us, because she has been selected as one of our authors in our upcoming book called Being Brave. And Sharon, welcome.
No, thank you so much, Karen. When you said that, I got little flutters in my heart because it's not only exciting to be a part of a project that has such a profound mission to celebrate women and their brave stories, but also it has such a essence of vulnerability, which always can be a challenge and a gift and a privilege. And so when you
Yeah.
said that, I just kind of got all excited about the thought of it.
Yes. And, Brene Brown talks a lot about that. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something around, one of the bravest things you'll ever do is, share your story. And that vulnerability of it is really something. And it's really, you have to tap into that inner core of who you are to bring out that beautiful essence like you were talking about. So today, what we're going to be doing, so you ladies know what to expect here, is I'm going to just read just a little brief synopsis to give you a little sneak peek of Sharon's story that she's going to be sharing with us. And then we're going to have a conversation with Sharon about what it was like to write the story and the process of being brave just to share it. So here's a little synopsis. Sharon's journey from the rigid confines of fundamentalism to the vibrant embrace of authenticity will inspire you to tap into your own inner courage. Facing a life steeped in fear and control, Sharon stood on the edge of a vast ocean of deception, ready to break free and reclaim her true self. And here she is today, gone through that story and showing up in her true self. So, Sharon, tell the ladies a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, Karen, I own Twin Peaks Nutrition and Wellness Boutique in North Bend. And for the last 5 years, I've also been building a coaching business. And now I coach women in their third chapter of life, 40 plus. It's called The Unapologetic Woman. It's helping women live with vitality and vibrancy, deep fulfillment, and a whole lot of fun. And the fun part means a lot to me because in fundamentalism, there was such a staunch view on what fun was. And
Oh,
so when I began to unleash what I call in the story my naughty and nice side, it was a lot of fun for me.
I love it. And just to, what all the programs and everything that you have now, I just see so much of that fun and that vibrancy that has come out, and to help other women unleash that too, and just really show up in who they are,
Mhm.
and just let go a little bit and step out of those confines of even
Mhm.
society things. So what was it like when you were thinking of sharing your story?
Mhm.
What were the thoughts going through your head? I mean, was there anything in particular that came through for you?
Each time that I've made a choice to share another layer of who I was and who I'm evolving to be, which I believe is an eternal process. Um, there is always the fear of rejection, uh, the fear of losing part of the tribe, the fear that as I evolve, what was once okay may not be, and then there's judgment with that. So it is a lot to be vulnerable. And you mentioned Brene Brown, and Brene said, "You are vulnerable with those who earn your trust." Now
Uh,
that is true in relationship and in community, but in the sense of being vulnerable to the masses, It's a big deal. And because it's not just an inner circle, it is the potential to blow a whole lot of things out of the water and to open a whole lot of new doors for yourself. And if you decide to be vulnerable, it's a gift and it's a privilege that comes with responsibility.
Oh, wow. That's like something right out of, it wasn't it Spider-Man about that
I don't know.
response.
Did he say that?
Really.
Maybe watching all those Spider-Man shows with my kids is sticking in my head.
Yeah, I think it was like um, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh,
But
yeah. I remember that one. Yes.
yeah, but with the power of your story, because your story is quite powerful,
Mhm.
coming from that fundamentalism and those strict rules and all these things. And I mean, women today too, with those, with society rules or whatever it is you have to break through, and knowing, and you mentioned being judged,
Mm.
telling your story and worrying, I think it's one thing to be thinking about the masses, because those people you don't necessarily know. And so you think, oh, it'll touch the people that need it. But when you start thinking about the people that that might read it,
Oh,
was there certain fears around that?
yeah, there really is because as I've shared more vulnerably about what my soul song is,
Mhm.
there's the judgment from those that I was once associated with, and with the vast world of media and Facebook, I was getting messages. I still do. So I might post something on Facebook and I get a private message with a reprimand or a correction of my language or
Oh.
theology. Um, and the
Mm.
way I've learned to respond now is I thank you so much. I believe you love me and have my best interest. And I have no fear,
Oh.
because so much of what was involved in fundamentalism is fear based. And
Mm.
I often believe that fear, it can be a catapult to get us where we need to go, but when it's a sustaining force, it depletes and it robs and it dulls and it robs the essence of who we are designed to be. So I've learned and am still learning to let go of fear of judgment, fear that God's not happy with me, fear that I'm not dressed properly, fear that I don't quite have my doctrine right, fear that I'm not a good wife, fear that I'm not a good mother, fear that I'm not a good friend. The fear list was long and vast. And to be able to toss those, I was watching the Olympics, the shot put, and they would take this big
Yeah.
thing, they'd rub it into their neck, and then they twist around and they'd bolt it through. And that's what I'm in the process of doing still, is bolting off all the things that confine me, that make me fearful, that rob me of joy, that rob me of authenticity.
Yeah, and it's those fears too could stop you from writing your story. A
And
story that
that's
might be incredibly impactful. I think one of the fears too, we think sometimes we have to have that feeling that we've arrived, that it's going to be perfect.
yeah.
But it's such a journey, and I think that's what I am seeing with all of you ladies who you've written a story, but you're still in the journey, and you're so open to learning. And when what you were just talking about too, I see you coming from that place of love.
Yeah, love is the essence. And it's interesting because we can love, and when we put our love and our efforts in the pool of the spiritual energies, the alchemy of the universe, it becomes perfect. And I love that because we see through a glass dimly. We love in a human way, which is oftentimes imperfect, but the intent of love is mixed with grace, and it matters and it has effect. So it's not about perfection. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being arriving. I know that fear, they call it what? Imposter syndrome, right? Because um, I felt that a lot, that if people really knew, and now people really know. I don't hide much anymore. I'm pretty vulnerable. And again, the fear has drifted, is drifting, and
Yeah.
it comes back to shore every once in a while. In writing, deciding to write this book, this chapter or this story for you, and the book, it's at first I was like, oh, so excited. When I began to write the story, that fear began to creep in. It's not too late to change your mind. I, read over a million times thinking maybe I could strike that out, or maybe I should strike that out. And then I said, no, it came from my heart, and I'll trust the spirit will use it to encourage bravery and courage in others, especially
Um,
those who are like me, bound up in fundamentalism.
oh, wow. Wow. So as you were sitting there writing and those fears were coming up, what, I mean, did you just tell yourself to stop, or how did you kind of break through that? Because I know I had to put, when I was writing too, I had to put my book down and just go, you know, everybody deals with fears differently, but I'd love to hear how you kind of got through that.
Well, I've created a couple of phrases for myself, mantras, belief systems, and I tether myself back to those. Some of those were established under hypnosis, and they call them anchors. And
Oh,
so I have those, and one of them is trust and surrender, grounded in love. So I just take a deep breath, remind myself, trust this process,
mhm.
surrender, and stay grounded in love. And it'll all weave together for the highest vibe, the highest good.
Oh, yes. And so, what would you suggest to a woman if she's thinking about coming and sharing her story, which women can still come and do
Mhm.
right on our app, and they can still submit a story of being brave, and it's interview style. What would you say to those ladies as they're sitting there writing and those fears start popping up, or those things of fears of judgment, or, or if someone's going to critique their writing style, or whatever?
I would say that the journey of coming back fully to yourself, unveiling that soul chamber, the full essence of yourself, that was born so many times out of struggles and perceived mistakes, and that there are those out there who need to hear your message so that they can take that first step for themselves. It's your voice, it's your story that says, you know what, I can relate. I think I can do this. I can. They may share their story with someone else for the first time. I've seen women do that. I've never told any this before. It told anyone this before. There's a couple of people I'm talking to, encouraging them. You've got
Yeah.
to share your story. You
Yeah.
would encourage so many people. You would give an, a spark of hope and a spark that they can make it through some very challenging times. And most importantly, when we share our stories, we own where we've been, where we are, where we hope to go. It's
Yeah.
never in vain. And I just hope that this project truly reaches a million women, which I do. And I believe this is the time of the woman, the wisdom, the
Yes.
strength, the moxie, uh, everything that women represent in femininity and in masculinity, because we inhabit both. But we don't have to be masculine in order to be effective. And so, femininity, in my mind's eye, it's the time of the woman, and it's her story that is going to light up the world.
Bam, drop the mic. Yes, and that spark of hope.
Mhm.
I sometimes believe that the women don't really realize the power of their story, and it's not. And I talked about this earlier, and with some women, is it's not the circumstances of the story per se, even though
Mhm.
that that's got to be told too. It's that overcoming and that all the things that we've had to go through to get through the story that I think we really relate to. And there's just so many. If you could describe kind of that process of that overcoming, what are a couple words that come to mind for you?
Well, you said it earlier, and that's hope. It's hoping, it's holding on. It's like they say, tying a knot and holding on for dear life as you swing through life.
So would you say, like, as you were in the midst of the struggle, trying to rediscover you and, come into your new space and your authentic space, would you think it's like resilience or
Mm,
overcoming? I'm trying to think of words. They're not all popping into my head right now. Like for my story, it was invisible. I was
mm.
invisible and became visible.
Well, for me, I felt caged, and I felt very like I had been, I felt like maybe I was a big husky dog with a
Oh,
big energy that had been put into a poodle's cage. And so I that's what would that be? It was exhilarant. It was exhilarating to be able to have the courage to express myself. So yeah, resilience is a big deal. Um,
well, I
it's
love
really
what
it's
you
hard
said.
to describe. Yeah, I'm freedom is the word that comes to my mind. You
Yes, but I love what you said, that courage to express yourself.
yeah.
That is huge because, okay, girls, how many out there are afraid to express how you feel, what
Mhm.
emotions you might be feeling, or an opinion or something like that? Because, maybe you feel caged, maybe you feel like that husky in a poodle's cage. Yeah, I mean, I think there's
Well,
a lot of women that might relate to
there
that.
is, and it's interesting because in my earlier years of growing up, even though it was a very challenging upbringing, abuse, alcoholism, multiple marriages, um, there was also rules. There was a certain etiquette. My mom had sent me to, in fact, an etiquette class. So even at a young age, I was taught how to sit, how to
Mm.
respond. And many of us in this decades of life remember napkins in your lap. I went
Oh,
to lunch with my husband at the senior center today, and it's in a round circle. And everyone's getting served, but in etiquette, you don't eat until everyone's served, right? That was still ingrained in me.
yeah.
And it's very not adhered to very often. Napkins in your lap, never elbows on the table. And the rules of society, I believe, even for women, um, were a lot, and they're falling away. But how do we live in a sense of honoring one another in
Mm.
respect without the bondage of rules? And if they're not adhered to, then you are all of a sudden not good enough, not worthy, whatever word that you might judge yourself with, first and foremost. And I think that's women, when they become to come out and they share their maybe the ways that they perceive themselves as falling short. I had a client yesterday, and it really touched me. I mean, I don't cry often because I've got to be the leader, right? But when she said this, I got teary eyed, and she's struggling with some issues. And I said, let's just take a deep breath, and I want you to ask your inner self the message, the part that loves you and wants you to grow is telling you what. And she said, I am enough.
Mm.
And I think that by observing our stories, where we've come from, where we are, like I said earlier, and where we're going, that I hope women see you're enough,
Yeah.
and you're here for a purpose. And all your suffering, all of your challenges, your unique pains and struggles, they have a story attached with a message that will serve the world if you're brave enough to share it.
Oh my goodness. Yes, ladies, we are here to surround you so you can feel safe and feel brave enough to share your story Wow, so many little golden nuggets there.
Thank you.
So, as we start to close out, Sharon, what would you like to leave the ladies? I mean, that was just beautiful. That was perfectly said there. But is there anything else you would like to, a little glimmer of hope and spark that you would like to leave the ladies with?
Well, I would like to leave them with that very practice. Even when you get off this live streaming or the next time you're in a moment by yourself, take a deep breath, close your eyes,
Mhm.
and ask, the part that loves me and wants me to grow is telling me this. And then receive that message. And from that message, see if there is an expanded message about how you got to where you are, and then share it with the world.
Yes, so ladies, feel free to write your word down there. I'm gonna just think on that one a little bit. That's a great practice to just from that inner space to know that enough was probably I'm worthy is probably one of mine that would come to me, that I'm not broken. So ladies, what is it for you? And this is a place where we can share. You're not going to be judged. We all go through these things, and just to have that inner, what is that inner beauty and that's inside of you saying to you, that's just so precious. Just want to bottle that up. So
And you
yes, well,
are worthy, Karen. And look what you, I
thank
mean,
you.
the fact that you're worthy and you're embracing that, look what you're doing for the world. I honor you immensely in that, the courage it's taken. And I've watched the evolution and watched you step into that courage more and more. And yes, you are worthy, and keep
Thank
sharing
you.
with the world.
Thank you, Sharon. I love you. And it is just such a joy to have you here and to share these little golden nuggets with these women. And ladies, I would love to have you, if you would like to be inspired by some of the stories, you can go to favelifestyles.app. And also there's a button there to submit a story. So you can share that spark that you can bring to the world and to light up other women and the hope that they might gain from your story. And so Sharon, thank you very much for joining us today. It is an honor to share your story, and I'm looking forward to the ladies to be able to read it come December. And thank you.
And thank you for the honor.
All
All
righty.
the best to you. Blessings.
Yeah. All right, ladies, we'll see you next time. Bye.